Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another round of racing. It's that time of week again. We've got the Tier 1 Championship taking place. It's a bit of a different track. It's not many leagues, from experience, tend to do this, but we're going around Portimao, and for a lot of people, often the lack of other leagues doing it sort of lends itself to the grid being a lot closer together because not as many people tend to race Portimao. But it should be interesting to see today what sort of implications that's going to have on the race result itself, and more importantly, the bigger picture in the championship, as I think the first car on track is going to be the Red Bull of Stefan. Actually, Silent Pistol's right on the track. He's been out that long that I've completely missed him. But he is out. So he is most definitely going to be the first driver to cross the line. Currently P2 in the Tier 2 Championship, reserve in the tier above. But we've seen from Silent Pistol in the past Tier 1 races, he has shown that he's on pace with a lot of Tier 1. He's put in some solid performances. I'd say if he can stay out of trouble, we could see another one of those performances today. Especially track like Portimao as well, track limits tends to have quite the effect, as Silent Pistol demonstrates going out of the track limits, which under normal race conditions would be providing a warning from Codemasters, although their warning system is not the greatest for the most part. But we'll just go right on board as he starts the first fire session. And go down into turn 1. It's one of the trickier corners in the F1 calendar, so you get on the brakes just after the 100 meter board, but the inside curve on entry is lethal. Too much of it, you can either unsettle the car or just get spat right out the track limits. Now this uphill left-hander turn 4, really tricky on the throttle. You have to be very careful. It's one of the main overtaking zones there. As we go down turn 5, the long hairpin. Quite a few drivers enjoy a good bit of a dive down into there, and I'm going to another tricky traction zone, as Portimao is just one of them tracks. It's really delicate on the throttle. Even slightly too much, you can have a spin, as the Haas driver in turn 1 has, I think it's Phil. It was Phil. He's had a bit of a spin on his first lap. A slap from Silent Pistol. I think tidy for the most part as he comes around the final corner, and this last sequence you have to make sure you have the perfect line. Even any slight mistake in any of those 3 corners and they all lend this to be affecting them right down the lines. That sequence of course tends to lend themselves to each other and getting a decent run. Look, the next car to cross the line though, it's going to be Tall Man, one of the front runners of the tier. Interesting where he's going to put the car in. Is he going to be Silent Pistol? And the line on the mediums, he is 4 tenths off. He's not be able to beat Silent Pistol on the slower compound, but I imagine once he bolts on a set of fresh softs, he's probably going to blitz that time. But Stefan only a 1.17.2, 7 tenths off of Silent. Mini Martin was reserved in the Ferrari this week. This time he's on the other side of the academy, down in the Alfa Romeo side. And he goes in the P2. Artie Moreno in the McLaren does P3. I think the next person to cross the line is going to be Side FX, but he's going to be starting a lap. The Red Bull behind him though is finishing a lap. So he comes around the penultimate corner. He's getting foot down on the throttle. I think he gets that maximum drive the whole way. And coming up the line, just past the pit wall. DRS wide open. That's going to be a 116 flat. And that's 5 tenths now, the margin between P1 and P2. As I think it's Aston Martin to come over to start his lap. That's going to be Runner. And Runner's going to be someone we have to keep an eye on, as he is, well, actually, evidently not. He's on the intermediates. He's setting a little bit of a lap to get rubber down, as we do see a lot of those sort of higher bracket pace drivers. Who's going to cross the line next? I think it's the Mercedes. We're just going to start his laps. I think we can ride on board with this lap. Actually, that's not cryptic, that's Maldi. I seemingly cannot read. Maldi, another one of the tier 2s. Actually, he's usually in the opposite side of the garage from Silent Pistol. But will he be able to match his tier 2 teammate? As he's not using as much of the track as he really could be coming out of turn 3. And turn 4 is nice and tight though. He gets the arse wide open. And it's nice and tight into the hairpin. Getting a nice exit as well. And he's keeping this middle sector really tidy. I was a little bit wide of the apex, but this corner is usually crucial to that because any sort of slip could be make or break by the end of it. He keeps it nice and planted on the throttle. No slips and no slides around the rear end of Maldi. Actually, as I say, that commentator's curse, he has had a little bit of a slip. The lap should still be good to hopefully land him within the top 5. I'm assuming that's going to be the minimum aim, I'd imagine, for Maldi. As he's going to get the power down, he's going to come right. He's going to keep a nice and tight line out of the final corner, which not a lot of drivers are doing at the moment. That's going to be a 117 flat. It's only good enough for P7. That's really not what he would have been hoping for. As Jay Snowy has invalidated his lap. And who else can cross? Dynamix has gone out and hard. Interesting, to say the least. Someone has spin. Side effects. Side effects has gone P4. And that is actually, that's a really good place for side effect speed, especially it's not had the best season so far. And maybe Portimao will be where he starts his redemption arc. He was the reigning tier 2 champion. I think he's consecutive tier 2 champions. He won it the last 2 seasons. I'm near certain he has anyway. Was on board with Charlie Ark. Last week we seen him opting for these slower compounds in qualifying, but this week he's going straight out, he's getting set of sauce, and he's pushing from the start as... was that his teammate? No, it's an AlphaTauri. Was having a little bit of a moment. I'm not quite sure what he was doing, but thankfully he didn't hamper Charlie Ark in any way, although I'd imagine like a lot of drivers like to take a wider line through that corner, so he may have compromised that line. And just that Tom has gone out, I think, on his set of slots. Charlie Ark's going to go P2 on the roundabout with Tom, as he is going to be pushing to try and claw back some points in the championship against Sleek Mover, especially when, from what Sleek Mover was saying in chat, it would appear that he is experiencing some Wi-Fi problems tonight. So I'd imagine Tom's going to be licking his lips and thinking, how many points can he pick up as a result of that? He's going in this... Well, Tom has missed a couple risks this season, so he's not been really helping himself out in the championship in that sense, but he's definitely fast enough to be one of the front runners, although he is currently P7. He's going to want to try and push towards getting 6 temps up on his previous lap time, but as it stands, that's still not going to be enough to beat GSR Delta, who has put in an absolute stomper of a banker lap. As we come through the last sector, he's keeping a nice and wide line, using all the curve, and he's going to take a bit of lazy line now through the middle of the track, and that's going to be a 116 flat, and that's less than... what's about 100? Less than 100 between P1 and P2, and that just shows the levels of this tier 1 grid this season. And it's just so scary. Just going around what Steven, definitely Steven is one of them, as he improves his time, but only going to be good enough for P8. That's not going to be where he's wanting to be. Like, Mini Martin validated his run. Anyone else need to go on the lap? I mean, Phil is on the lap. Haas, I imagine the same for P3 is quite a good result for Haas last time out in Spa. As we've seen, specifically Jay Snowy, who had a colossal battle with Sleek Mover, and may just be up there for a battle of the season, because that was just right at the end, nail-biting stuff between the two drivers, and it's definitely nail-biting for Phil as the Academy team principal, as I've heard reports that he was stressing in the other side of the garage as his two drivers were battling it out, leaving nothing for each other at the front. And stuff so far, it's looked pretty decent, as he does actually slightly miss that apex, but he's using all of the exit curd, trying to carry as much speed as he can through that sequence. There's yellow flags in the middle sector, thanks to someone letting someone by. Dino, what is Dino doing? Dino, I think, he's done 3 laps on that set of hards. And he's sort of driving about. I'm not sure what aim he has, but it fails him to come across 116.5. And he did actually invalidate. That's really not the start to the session that Pharaoh would have been looking for. We're going to jump to the other half now. One of the main characters of the battle that was unfolding last week. And hopefully, we're actually going to be wanting to see another chapter of that battle on stream. I'll see what he can produce, but someone that does need to produce some Sleek Mover, actually just look, because he's going to come across the line, and that's going to be P4 for Sleek. That's a decent up, but GSR Delta has come across the line, and he's improved again. He's put, that's now nearly 2 tenths. It's about a tenth and a half. He has put between himself and Tom N in P2. I imagine Tom's going to have to come back out and maybe even burn a third set of sauce now to try and just provide a bit of a response to that. As Jay Snowy has ran slightly out of the track limits. And Phil's discovering some new layouts. Have a wee bit of a drift there as well, it would seem. Find the next driver to cross the line. Sleek's already done his lap. Runnard has done his lap as well. He's actually up before. Silent Pistol is not on the lap, as he gets jumped into the pits by the Haas. Is there anyone actually on the hot lap? Actually, Artie Moreno is going through the final sector. He's 3 temps up in his time right now. As it stands, that's going to put him around P6. If we get a bit more improvement, he might be able to jump Sleek Mover, but I'd say it'd be quite hard to do as he comes across the line. It's going to be a 116.6, and he doesn't gain any positions from it. He improves his time, but still no positions. And there's definitely some interesting lines are being created by these drivers. Obviously, there is no track limit rules in qualifying in terms of cutting the track to get back to the pits, as I discovered last week. We shall see who can, actually, well, really, I'm almost annoyed that I missed. Oh, as Maldi, that's actually good car control from the tier 2 driver, as he had a big moment coming over the hill. But what I think I missed, judging by the mini-map, which I was watching Phil's little dot go across, he went flying off the hill. And for those who don't know, in Portimao on the F123 game, there is a... if you carry enough speed up that hill, the car does tend to go airborne. And it provides some interesting footage, shall we say, as Maldi just comes full speed into the pits, as there's definitely some shenanigans taking place for these tier 1 drivers. But I mean, it's a bit of crack for the stream at the end of the day, and as long as they're not crashing into each other, we should be grand. Snowy is the first of the drivers to come back out on track to look at setting his final time. He's going to be looking to try and maybe look at pole. But I feel like that Red Bull, just GSR Delta, has set a really good lap time. I don't know if anyone's actually going to beat it, although Tom, he only needs about 10.5. I think that is perfectly within Tom N's capabilities. He's demonstrated it before. He is quite a fast driver. He's one of the front runners of the tier for a reason. And even if he doesn't get him in the qualifying, I'd imagine there's going to be quite a colossal battle will happen in the race. Because Tom N's not going to let P1 go without a fight. I'd say someone who might have to fight will be Sleek Mover. And see, as it stands, Runner's ahead of Sleep Mover. Runner P2 in the championship. Didn't have a great race last week, whereas Sleep Mover went and he picked up the maximum amount of points available, bar maybe the fastest lap. I'm not quite sure who claimed the fastest lap point last week. But Runner's going to need to try and claw back some of those points he lost out on last week. But Snowy's keeping nice and tight for the first sector. He's getting so close to succeeding the white line. We're just going to look at the offboard. This is what we see, especially with this next twisty sort of sector. The offboard also often demonstrates just how much the car is almost getting thrown. You can see the arrow a lot of the time of these modern F1 cars. Especially from inside the car, you don't see it as much, but from the offboard, you see how much the car tends to move in the corners. As he's going to come through, and the Sector 2 time is going to be a 51.2. No time representative to compare that to as of right now for Jay Snowy, so we can't tell if he was quote-unquote improving. So obviously it wouldn't really be oh! And that's a big moment for Jay Snowy. He's just too eager to get on the throttle, and that's going to be his qualifying over. That's not what we want to see from Jay Snowy as one of the main protagonists in the battle last week, but he's not going to be able to set a representative lap time this week, and that's going to be looking at him starting at the back of the grid now. And this qualifying has not been going the way of the Haas drivers. That's definitely not what Phil is going to be wanting to see as the Ferrari Academy team principal, as they picked up some points against the Mercedes Academy yesterday. They further extend their lead. As Charlie Hart comes across line, small improvement, still P6. That's not what he would have been wanting. Mini Martin's going to cross line. I think, nope, that's going to be Tom actually starting his lap. And Phil is out. So it's a Haas disaster class. The Haas plan's not come into effect this week. And that's going to be both Haas's are going to be qualifying towards the back of the grid. Spenny isn't out on track. So that's a howler for Spenny. He's going to be at the back now as well. I was going to look at the drivers coming across the line. There's the other Red Bull of Stefan, but he's starting his lap. Sleek Mover, is he? Nope, he's starting his lap as well, but his teammate inside effect is going to come across the line and start a lap. Just going to go on with Tom N, because I cannot figure out who is and isn't starting laps at the moment. We know Tom N's most definitely on lap, and he is improving. But it, as of right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to knock GSR Delta off that top spot. But more importantly, GSR Delta himself is out on track. Yep, I've seen the Red Bull had a bit of a moment there, but it wasn't Delta. But as you come across the line with Tom N 2004 in the Alfa Romeo, is it going to go with Ferrari? It's not. As Tom N must have supported his lap, he must have been feeling something quite right with that, and he's backed out. As Delta is down on his Delta, he has invalidated, saved the track limits on that final lap. But can Runner do anything? He's only a tenth up his time, but as he comes across the line, the Aston Martin driver is going to set a 1:16.1, but I think he must have invalidated. Runner's invalidated. I think that might have gotten P3, but he's going to remain P4 as it stands, as he must just exceed the track limits. Maldi isn't improving, and a lot of drivers right now aren't improving, but Side FX is someone who is improving. He comes around the final turn. Not as much curb as some of the other drivers are up for, but he's keeping it nice and tight. And he's going to run right to the line, and that's going to be a 1:16.5. That's going to move Side FX up in the P7. Still not a great quality in terms of fighting towards front, but it is one of, I think, Side Effects' better qualities this season, and hopefully he can pull a good result, as this season's not really gone his way. So he's very fortunate in some of the instances he's been caught up in. Hopefully we can see him produce something today. But as the end of qualifying, no one else can stand up. It's going to be GSR Delta on pole position. I think that's his first time racing in PAR. Debut race, debut pole position, and I'm not too sure if he's a reserve, but I'd imagine if he is a reserve, then some of the TPs are going to be looking to snap him up straight away, as I am just going to invite Sleek Mover back before lights out, as the aforementioned Wi-Fi issues seem to be playing up again. I mean, we can only hope he doesn't DC in the race, but I dare say there's a high possibility of it. But the order then is going to be GSR Delta, followed by Tom in the Alfa Romeo, Silent Pistol, Ferrari Academy driver, but will he be playing the Ferrari Academy game tonight? He is representing AlphaTauri, so he's going to be under the Red Bull Academy. P3 is a massive result for the Tier 2 driver. As we go in, the P4 is going to be Runnard. Sleek, the championship leader, only in P5, outqualified by his championship rival. Only small margins between the two drivers, and I'd imagine it's going to be small margins between them in the race as well. But Portimao, it's a weird track, because it's like 50% of the track is not great for overtaking, but the other, maybe like half the track, is just great for the action, especially when you get a long straight. It causes a bit of a split sometimes with the drivers in terms of setups. A lot of them prefer the downforce, especially for the middle sector, and with a lot of those tricky traction zones, they like to have a more planted rear end, but other ones will prefer that, just that advantage they get on the straight line. And especially with DRS, the straight line advantage can be massive in deciding the race. But as we just wait now, as the drivers could be just doing a final tweaks to their setups and just confirming their strategies. Which I'd imagine, yesterday we seen a lot of medium soft, which was something I didn't expect to see. But we have Delta on starting softs, Runner starting softs, Sleek Mover the championship rival starting softs, and if Sleek starting softs, then I'd say there is a solid reason for it, because well, actually Sleek's not in the session. But as we come onto the grid, and the lights are going to go, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go for Tier 1 Portimao Grand Prix. GSR Delta gets a good start. Tom N doesn't get a great getaway though. He's going to be under pressure with Silent Pistol as he looks for the outside line. Doesn't quite get it, and there's just contact behind. And it looks like Side has got into contact. I'm not too sure who with, but Sleek Mover's AI, the championship leader, is losing, as he just can't get back in the session, I think. We go back to the front. Tom didn't have the greatest starts, but he is right on the rear diffuser now of Delta. As we just look at the tyres that have been selected, a lot of mediums, as there's load of position change at the back. Sleek Mover down to 15th, and this is a massive battle taking place. We come into the uphill right-hander, one of the trickiest traction zones. I dare say we might see a couple of spins coming into the start sector 1 through that little, or sector 2 through that turn. But there's not much position change now taking place, but all the cars are really close together. And this is brilliant to see, such close racing, especially off the bat, although it is lap 1. And thankfully, we've avoided a lot of the lap 1 chaos, as there's movement behind, as Stefan's made a move in Philo, but Philo, I think, is going to look to try and get back at him. He's going to be looking towards the inside. Stefan moves over, it's very lit though. And Phil tucks in behind, gets slipstream, he's going to look to the outside, but he has not got the drive. Switch to the inside though, as he comes down the straight. He's burning, deploying as much ERS as he can in that first lap. He's going to clear Stefan, he's clearing forward and Brickinson cuts across, and that's going to be Phil in the P11 for turn 1. Was behind his teammate, I think, has managed to defend from Mario Romeo, but he's looked towards the front. Charlie Ark and Runner in the battle. Charlie Ark has gone off the track. I don't know if he was forced off, but Mini Martin now up the inside, and that's going to be 2 for 1. As he's in, thank you very much for Runner up the inside into the hairpin. I was saying the qualifying, a lot of drivers love to have a bit of a dive up there, and Runner going for that lunge, and he makes it stick. And this race is going to be huge. As there's instant behind. Oh, that's a big crash. As Mini Martin's out of the Grand Prix, I'd imagine that's going to be a safety car. There's penalties left, right and centre. There is debris and carbon fibre all over the track. I'm not quite sure what happened. But that first lap, the first lap and a half, is just hectic. Just take a little bit of a breather. There's just so much happening off the start. I'm not too sure who's been caught up at that instant. I think Dino got a bit of a... He's got the penalty for it. He's missing his end plate. Has anyone else got damage from the incident? I'm not too sure. I think it was behind Jay Snowy. But Jay Snowy must have been caught up in it because it is behind him. And he's now behind all of them ins. And Side FX has spoken his sort of misfortune of getting in the instance, just getting caught up and stuff. And it's happened again. The reigning Tier 2 champion. It's not been a season to remember so far. He just cannot seem to stay out of trouble. He's rivaling Leclerc for the most unlucky Ferrari driver this season. But Tom N at the front gets drive-through as his virtual safety car ends. And that is really, really unlucky for Alfa Romeo driver. As we know, this game, as a peak Codemasters creation, tends to have a lot of bugs with the VSC and a lot of wrongful penalties. As Maldi is in the pits, he must have got caught up in that incident through Sector 2 there as well. As we're moving behind, Jay Snowy makes a dive on Stefan, but there's a little bit of contact, and Stefan just drives into the rear tire of Snowy. That is great car control from the Haas driver. But he does lose out on 2 positions as Spenny now up in the P8. And I'd imagine Snowy's going to report that. We can't say for sure who's at fault from the stream, but it did look like that Stefan in Red Bull has seemingly just washed out the front end of the car into Jay Snowy and has caused contact. But Tom N, he's going to stay out this lap. I would have thought he would have wanted to serve that drive-through as soon as possible, because if, say, an incident happens behind, then he's not going to be a server. But Cryptic is losing out on the straight. And it's almost Schumacher Hakkinen-esque at Spa back in the day. I think it was 98, where they both came around the lap marker. But it's going to be Spenny is the biggest victor out of all that. He's going to be up in the P7. There's an instant behind. Artie Moreno has had a bit of a spin. And for second week running, he's having some rear end troubles at the back. Jay Snowy though makes a massive move. Spenny's almost ran out of room on the track though, but he just sticks it up the inside. He's going to think better of it through this next section though. It's a bit hard to make 2 cars go into one, especially through this next sequence. Maladi's got a 5-second speed in pitting and he has retired. I think he's got really unlucky to get caught up in that second lap incident. I've seen there's a number of cars got caught in that pile up, and it's just not what we want to see, especially from tier 1. It's all the cleanest drivers, especially in the past couple of weeks. They've demonstrated they have been the cleanest of all the tiers. Although that was not hard to do after that tier 2 Spa race, but they have still been setting the bar on driving standards. Is Tom N going to come in this lap? He is going to come in and serve that drive-through now. GSR Delta sets the fast lap, but it goes down the field now to Phil only at 19% though. And he's burned a lot. He's still 1.3 behind Charlie Ark. He's not going to feel the benefit of the DRS, but this 4-car battle now forming. And this is going to be spectacular if this spices up. GSR Delta is... He has got Silent Pistol's DRS. Silent Pistol has used more ERS. I imagine Delta's going to want to control the pistol race from the front. Side FX sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far as he's on the soft compounded tyres. I'd imagine he's going to be banking on the safety car to pull him back into this after getting caught up in that instant. As I say, Delta's going to want to control the pace now. Especially with this train, it's going to start to form around behind him. So you port him out, you can see a lot of DRS trains formed. And Theo has burned a little bit in that lap. I think he is now going to be within the DRS though. And it's going to be all 5 of the top 5 are going to be running within, I think it's 2.5 seconds of each other. That's just really, really great to see, especially from a league point of view. We want to see this sort of racing every week, and especially from the stream, it's a lot more entertaining to see races like this than the instants. Although, to be fair, the instants, they provide a bit of drama, a bit of action, but for the most part, this is what we want to see. And actually, it's Silent Pistol's getting a little bit loosey-goosey, and there's a lot of stuff happening. As it seems, Silent Pistol got a little bit all out of shape. He's had contact with Runner, who's had contact with Charlie Ark. Charlie Ark has got him in P2, but Runner's now lost out in 3 positions. As he was up in the P2 briefly, he's now in the P5, he's lost a position to Philo. Silent Pistol's lost a position to Philo. I don't know if that's going to appear in the steerage room afterwards. I didn't quite catch what had actually happened. But this car, like, this 4-car train is now falling back from GSR Delta. That's cost them 2.8 seconds. And that's going to allow Delta, I'd imagine, to run away with this. He's not going to burn any ERS. He's going to maintain all of his resources. And he can just try and control the race from the front. Sleek Mover is... his AI's pitted him, I think. No, it hasn't started him soft, so... I'm not sure if he's in the session. Actually, I'm going to just stick on board with the Strix. Imagine we might actually see a little bit of overtaking. His runner, it looks like he's getting really close to the back Silent Pistol. He's going to go on board. He's not burning. Silent Pistol is not burning either. But Runners is not getting enough on the Strix to look at the move into turn 1. Will he look for the move into turn 3 though? He's not close enough this time round. Silent Pistol though, getting over the rear diffuser of Philo. Charlie Arc's going to be under loads of pressure. Philo can keep it nice and clean, but he has a little bit of a slip through the traction zone. And he's not going to be close to making the move this time, but Runnard is going to be close enough to make the move on Silent Pistol. And, oh, that's a big dive from Runnard, and he's caused contact with Philo. He's just outbraked himself, got a bit over ambitious on the brakes. And that's contact, and that's lost Philo position. I dare say that Runnard might end up with a 5-second at the end of the race, maybe even a 3-second, I think. But I'd say that is most definitely going to get penalised if it gets reported by the Haas driver. But Silent Pistol's going to be saying thank you very much. He gets those positions back, and he's going to be just within the DRS. Actually, he might actually be out of DRS on this lap with Charlie Arc, and that's going to allow him to start pulling away from this train as well. As there's a lot of pushing and shoving behind. As Silent Pistol, is he going to get the DRS? He isn't. That's going to leave him vulnerable to his team principal in Phil, who's having a little bit of a weave behind. Silent Pistol moves over the inside. He realises he can't really fight it. As we Phil around the outside into turn 1. As we look behind, there's not really any battles happening behind, as everyone's really, really close together at the front. As that is P3 to P7 now, all within the DRS of each other. Phil's starting to put a little bit of a push towards Charlie Arc. Runnard, I can't quite see what's happening. I think he went for another move into that hairpin. Runnard seems to love going for the moves into that corner. But this time, I think he might actually make mistakes. Good, try and stay around the outside. Silent Pistol just washes out steering. That's going to be a oh my, what a move from Runnard if he can make this stick. The switchback. He's still on his outside. And both drivers still go side by side into the end of Sector 2. And Runnard's going to make the move stick. What a move from Runnard in the Aston Martin. We don't see very many switchbacks, especially through that turn. But that was just some great racecraft that Runnard has displayed. It's going to be good for now, but with that battle, he's cost himself time, and more importantly, he's going to leave himself vulnerable to all of these drivers behind now, as they are going to have the DRS, where Runnard is not going to be feeling the benefit of that extra 10 kilometers per hour from the rear wing being open. He's now flashing. Jay Snowy's passed. That's very close in the braking zone, and he's going to be vulnerable to his teammate in Spenny. Spenny thinks better of going for the move this time. There's 2 cars in front, and just on streams looks very good. Oh, the Aston Martin looks to the inside. And it's an ambitious move, and it works for now. Runner's going to go down the inside again, nearly hits the Haas in front of him. I seem to have a thing for those Haas drivers at the moment. Silent Pistol is going to come back at him in the next turn. Not going to be able to look for a move this time though. He's saving that barrier though. And Silent Pistol has got about 5 times nearly what Runner has currently got in Barry. Jay Snowy, after a really poor quality, this has actually been a great race for Snowy so far. He's up 10 positions, and it's a stellar drive. He's showing why he was up in the battle for the lead last week. Sleek Mover, I think, got back in the session. He's still down in P11, which is why Runnard is... I'd imagine he really shouldn't be battling as hard as he is at this current moment in time. Especially with Sleek and Tom, 2 of the front runners could be battling him back. But Sleek is his main championship rival. This is the best opportunity if he just plays it safe to pick up the points and try and get past. Actually, someone who I've completely ignored having a good start, as Snowy goes out of track limit. Philo in the other end of the Haas garage has had an amazing start, up 13 positions, and He might actually be able to look for a move and chart out. He's not going to be close enough this time. If you look behind, will there be a movement between these drivers? As Spenny he's trying to show signs he's there, but he's not going to be close enough this time around to look for a move. But it's some really, really close racing in the midfield. There's some great driving from the Tier 1 grid. Especially coming into the business end of the season. Every race at this point matters in terms of the championship, especially with constructors, although I'd imagine it's going to go towards the Scuderia side, as Cryptic has had a massive spin. That's not what we want to see from the Merc driver. That's really unfortunate. He's going to be down in the P10 now, and he has damage as well. He must have hit the wall, and that is truly unfortunate. As we look back to this battle we have at front, I think the soft runners, are going to have to start looking at pitting in maybe the next 3-4 laps. Sleek Mover definitely is going to have to look at pitting. I think he might actually pit the hards because the AI will have disintegrated his tyres. The AI tend to have some really horrid tyre management. Well, as we come back in, it's going to be one of the main braking zones again with the DRS down into the hairpin. Out of turn 4, Runner does get a better drive as Silent goes off behind. There's yellow flags as Cryptic has now DNF'd in the pits. As the Co-Academy TP of Merc, that's really not what I want to be seeing. That's the double Mercedes DNF. And Ferrari will be rubbing their hands together at this. That's another way for them to extend their championship lead. Wasn't the on-track action. Runners, he's recharged a little bit of his ERS and he's got some of that advantage that Snowy had down. But there's not very much movement taking place. Just the DRS chain really just taking hold. But if we look, actually what I did miss was Phil got ahead for P2. Charlie Arklow, I imagine, is going to come back out in this next DRS zone. As he come out to the final corner, he's burning. But he's going to turn Barry back off again, just a small amount, just to try and get that better drive. He knows the DRS is going to carry him along. As he gets that rear wing wide open, and it's a good clear Phil before the braking zone. I say he might, and he's going to be able to cut across before the braking zone, and that's going to be P2 again. Turn out, that's Phil. He absolutely clarks the inside curb, and that's a massive moment for Phil. He keeps it, scoops it back up, and that's a really good save from Phil to try and keep himself in that battle for P2. He's not too close enough this time around to look at the move into the hairpin, but some of the drivers behind might. Actually, this 4-car train in the midfield is just... it's becoming a bit of a procession at this point. Because seemingly no one can get close enough. Snowy is maintaining enough of a gap for Runner to not be able to get close enough because with the DRS. And because Runner has the DRS, he's managing to just maintain gap between Silent and Spenny. So I'd say Silent and Spenny, you're going to have to look at... especially Spenny, he's got 68% battery. He's going to have to look at starting to burn some of that. But as we look at the final turn, will we see any movement on the main straight? I'd say the main straight will be a lot longer. The DRS should be more of a helping hand. Runner goes out of track and turn. That's going to be a 3-second time penalty. It's the second time penalty we've seen so far. Runner's not really close enough to make a move this time. Spenny though, he's not going to burn AERS yet. I think next lap, Spenny will definitely be able to look at overtaking, as Spenny spent the entirety of the straight in 7th gear. I don't know if he forgot his upshift button, but I'd imagine 8th gear would be a little bit faster. But Arnie Moreno now going to go for a move into turn 1, and that's contact! I'm not quite sure who's at fault for that. And Stefan, no damage, but Tom N. Oh, that's contact again! Stefan has jumped the curb. And maybe Redness seemed to have descended into the cockpit as Stefan maybe felt like he was wronged in turn 1. But that was not really the way to go about it. As Tom N's going to go down the inside. Oh, and that's... it's contact again. And Artie Ray's getting all sorts of fire shape. And this is not great racing from the McLaren driver. I think he has just turned in on Tom N there from the looks of the onboard. I'm going from such clean racing in previous races. Some of the drivers seem to be letting Tier 1 down at the moment. but it's still providing some great entertainment for the stream. And we go back to the train at the front. Is Spenny going to burn a little bit? 79%. Surely he has to start looking at making some moves and putting some of this Barry to use. But he's not going to burn. He's going to be entering that pit window now. I think the mediums, from going off of what happened in Tier 2 yesterday, they went until about lap 19. The silent pistol gets out-shaped into turn 1. That's going to invite Spenny to put him under pressure in the next DRS zone. Is he going to use a little bit of DRS now? He gets a decent drive out of turn 4, but Silent gets a better one. With the DRS, he's not going to be close enough again, but someone is going to be close to the move. As Phil has made a move in the hairpin on Charlie Ark. That's twice now I've actually missed the T2 battle. I think I'm going to start giving these a bit more screen times. They are battling it with everything they have. Phil on the lower end of the DRS bracket at the moment, but GSR Delta, this is a really, really dominant drive he's putting on. He's actually sitting on 100% DRS. He's not using anything at the moment, and he's got a 5.3 second gap, and it's only going to get bigger while these cars behind are battling. But Spenny's gone past Silent. I don't know if Silent had a moment, but we don't usually see very many overtakes through that section of track. But Spenny does make one stick. Let's come back on Charlie Ark now. He's burning his DRS. He's going to get that rear wing open, get that extra, I think it's 10 kilometers an hour. We might see what we had again a couple laps ago, where he's going to pull out with DRS, and he's going to cut it back across and get the move done before the braking zone. And it's almost just routine at this point with these drivers. I've seen a lot of DRS transform. Jason Owie exceeds track limits to turn 1, and that's going to be his third warning and a 3-second time penalty. As I say, 3 strikes and you're out, but this case 3 strikes, that's going to be 3 seconds, and that could be massive in determining the end race result. Silent Pistol and Spenny have lost time, I think, from the cars in front, just with how much they're battling. Spenny now behind again. He'd managed to clear Silent Pistol last lap, but Silent has been able to come back at him. But I imagine Spenny is going to need to start using some of this DRS. He has loads of it, he has an advantage. He's going to have to start putting it to use to try and clear Silent if he doesn't want to be locked in a battle all race where he's going to keep losing time. Phil, 3 temps now coming into sector 3. He's going to come around the penultimate corner. Charlie, 40%. Charlie, is he going to burn? I think he might burn a little bit out of this next turn. He doesn't burn out the final corner. I think he might just accept that Phil is going to get past him straight, and they're just going to keep DRS swapping. So he's not using any battery. Is he going to be able to get the move done before he turns the DRS off? I think Phil decides it's going to be better for him to sit behind this lap. Will he look for a move in the hairpin again? Does he think that the hairpin is a more viable chance for him to overtake? It's going to get a nice exit as he gets the throttle down perfectly. On the DRS again, is he going to be close enough? Oh, he's not close enough this time round. Well, as Tom M was making moves there, he's got past Stefan, the Rebel driver, who had a bit of a bust up with Artie Moreno a couple laps previous, which almost actually did see Tom actually get caught up in an instant due to it. But Tom M now, he's had that drive through. He's putting on quite a strong drive so far to recover some of it. 13 seconds though to the next car. That's going to be Silent Pistol. That's the main battle towards the front nearly. As Silent Pistol, I think his tyres have hit a cliff, as he has fallen off now. 3.4 seconds to the car in front when he was wheel to wheel with him a couple laps ago. Actually no, Spenny was wheel to wheel with, as him and Spenny were both battling. Spenny has decided that he was going to pit for the softs instead of battling Silence. He wants to keep that clean air. Charlie Ark though into the pits, and is he going to go soft tyres? I see Spenny's come in, he's gone for a soft. Will the softs go from this point though? So Charlie Ark is going to go for the hards. He doesn't think the softs are going to be able to last, but the hards will most definitely last. And more importantly, the hards should be faster at the end of the race if the softs start to die out. But look, Tom N 2004 is going to come out. Now he's going to jump the Alpine, but obviously Tom N does still have to pit. So Tom N P6 right now. We know that Charlie Ark is going to be net. Actually, if we look at the leader time, he's going to be coming out around net P5 at the moment. He should come out against ahead of Silent Pistol when he pits. Obviously that undercut should be really, really powerful. As they're starting to form up a little bit of a battle in the midfield. As Charlie Ark is coming up on the cars that haven't pit yet. Artie Moreno, 16 lap old hards. I'd imagine he's not going to fight Charlie on fresh hards. Bit of a moment. He shuts the door. And I mean, Artie Moreno is only going to lose himself time. Charlie Ark is going to want to clear him as quick as possible to not hinder himself. Especially as we look at the front. Jay Stowe, Silent Pistol have both come into the pits. And are they going to go to soft compound, or do they think the hards are going to be the way to go as well? As I can't quite see what tires Jay Snowy's gone. He's gone soft. Silent Pistol's going to come in. He's gone soft as well. And a lot of drivers now thinking that those softs are in that pit window. Spenny, where's Spenny come out? Spenny's come out in P9. And there's a battle ahead as Stefan and Charlie Ark. Charlie Ark has got ahead, but has he exceeded the track limits? I think. Oh, and that's a big lock up, I think, from Stefan. That's another bit of contact. That's causing a lot of stuff to kick off. As 4 wide into the hairpin, we're going to go. And they keep it clean, I think, for the most part. No, Charlie Ark's getting sandwiched. And the LP driver's getting caught in the middle. And that's going to be Stefan, again, caught up in another instant. I'd imagine he's going to be a familiar face to the stewards after this race. But look, this battle shaping up in the midfield is really spiced up. Spenny's going to look up the inside. He's braver on the brakes, and he's going to maintain that position. And more importantly, he's going to have the DRS now on Snowy. It's just changing the interval back as Philo now is pitting. And I think Philo will come back out ahead. But how far ahead? As Tom N is trying to he's actually going to come into the pits now as well. He was just going for that overcut. As Philo now is going to come out. Where's he going to come out in relevance to his teammate though? It's going to be close. As Snowy is coming down the main straight. Philo's coming out into the pit exit now. Philo is going to be able to keep P3 for now. But his tires are going to be cold. And Jay Snowy, more importantly, is going to be back in his DRS now. But will they play the team game? Will Phil try and help Jay Snowy pull away from that pack behind? And will he try and help each other out and DRS swap? Side effects is into the pits. Stefan into the pits. He's finally decided he's had enough of that midfield battle. And as it's behind now, but we're going to start looking at the penalties. Because this is the business end of the race where they're going to start taking effect. And especially implementing how a lot of these drivers are going to start pushing their car. And where they're going to start managing their pace. As Snowy has got 3 seconds, Ron's got 3 seconds. Snowy's getting really, really loose at the rear there. As good car control to keep that in line. But it's going to might leave them under a little bit of pressure on the main straight now from the Aston Martin Spenny, who didn't set a lap in qualifying, has put on quite a good drive so far. As we're seeing a lot of the drivers that didn't particularly have great qualifying, all putting on really good recovery drives. I have to admit, the driver of the day though is so shaping up. It's going to look like it's going to be what's wrong with the pit. At the moment, I think it could be P2, 3 and 4 as all 3 of these drivers have just showed some exceptional pace and really good racetrack as well to come back from where they were after that, all collectively having really poor qualifying, and they're running 2, 3 and 4. I mean, the only person that they haven't kept up with is GSR Delta, 27 seconds ahead as of right now, but I mean, Delta's still on 90%. Delta's going to come in the pits now. He is going to come back out ahead of Philip, I think by about 5 seconds. But I mean, it's mad as Stefan. What has Bro done to get a 10 second? I think he's just created his own layout. He's broke his wing, so he must have been caught up in another crash. And imagine Stefan might go and retire in the pits at the end of this lap. He's P12, he's got a broken wing. Obviously, we don't like to see the drivers giving up, but based on some of the what we've seen from the other drivers, there's a possibility as Phil. Actually, that's nowhere near as far ahead as I thought Delta was going to be. Although the 2-lap overcut can be quite good. But as Phil, he's going to be within the DRS. He's going to get the DRS. But the main thing is, actually, Tom N 10. He's going to set the fast lap. GSR Delta, he's not using any DRS. He's still not using anything. He's got 100% battery. I can only imagine he's just going to pull a lot in the last couple of laps if he does start to deploy that ERS. But silent piston, he's going to get past Runnard. That's going to be P6 for the AlphaTauri. Runnard is really not having it. The race he's probably hoping he would have been able to have, as Stefan has retired in the pit lane, as sort of thought would happen. It's not been a race to remember for him. He's been all over the place in terms of incidents. He's getting caught up in a couple of unfortunate contacts, and it's not been a great day for the Rebel driver. But on the other half of the Rebel garage, they're going to be loving life, as Delta's now broke the DRS again. He's deployed 10%. I think he's going to start pushing now. He's got those tires warmed up. He's going to start using that ERS that he saved up so much for this final stint. And I'm honestly really curious to see the full extent of Delta's pace. The guy seems rapid. On his debut in PAR, he seems absolutely nuts. And I dare say that if he can maintain pace like this, we might see someone who can take the battle to Sleek every week if this is his standard pace. And is absolutely rapid. He's been dominant from start to finish so far. Well, not start to finish because we haven't finished yet, but he's just been dominant all race. And even this lap, 6 temps, and he's only halfway through the lap. And it's absolutely blistering pace, as Runnard has some creative interpretations of the track limits though. I'm not too sure if he got a warning. I don't think he did. But I'd imagine he probably would have, because he kept the throttle planted while he was off track there. But now, after those final set of pit stops, we're starting to see a lot more field spread. A lot less of the action on track. Sleek is coming up behind Dino Oaks on the mediums. And Sleek at this point, he's trying to get damage limitation. His Wi-Fi problems have severely cost him. Delta sets a 117.4. And down to 24% battery. But I mean, that is actually mental. He's gained 2.6 seconds. Not 2.6, 1.6 seconds in a lap. My maths wasn't mathing briefly, but he went from 1.4 seconds to fill up to 3 seconds in a lap. And that's actually mental. This guy is an alien. I don't know where he's come from, but I don't think it's from Earth. As I'd say definitely if he's a reserve, everyone's going to be scrambling to sign him, which actually I might have to start scouting there, because that could be a massive signing. But I shouldn't really be talking business on the stream. I don't really know how it is. But the on-track battle has really just calmed down a little bit. Spenny and Runnard, I imagine, they're not going to be battling each other too hard. They're going to be looking to work together to get the best possible result for the Aston Martin team and for the Mercedes Academy. Really not too much happening at the moment. Sleek Mover is AI mode, actually. And I actually think Sleek won't get points for this race, because I think his AI has done more than 50%, and by those standards that tends to... But actually I can't even remember what I was saying. I've had a bit of a brain lapse. I just got mildly distracted by something now. And I've had a complete mind blank of what I was talking about. But if I've forgotten it, it can't have been that important anyway. Actually, as in, Sleek has completed less than 50% of the race, which would mean his AI would get disqualified, I believe, from the post-race classification. But there's not very much happening now on track, as we're hitting a bit of a lull in the on-track action. GSR Delta's got 4.4 seconds. He's just going to continue to extend that lead at the front. And just the two Aston Martins that are going to be working together. They're going to want to try and keep Silent Pistol at bay. Silent Pistol has got 2 lap younger tyres than Spenny, and he's going to burn a little bit out of his final corner. He's gaining on Spenny, but Silent does have a penalty. He's only got 3 seconds, but even if he does get past Spenny, he is going to drop back on that 3-second beat. His main, I think, focus will be trying to get up to catch Runnard, because Runnard's going to be level on pens. So Runner at the moment, as it stands, net P5, which, well, actually no, net P6, which is going to be good points to try and get back at Sleek for last weekend at Spa, especially with Sleek not being able to score any points this week unless he joins back. This will be massive in terms of the championship battle, especially towards the end. I think Cryptic was P3 in the championship. He's retired. As obviously, it's one thing as well that we sort of discourage people retiring on track, and the main reason is obviously we want everyone to finish the race, unless obviously they crash out because they can't finish the race on 3 wheels. But especially with the PAR point system, it encourages finishing the race even if you're in the poor position, because every position is a point scoring position. As Spenny's come into the pits, is he going for another set of softs to go for a fast lap, I wonder? Because he's got 3 seconds, which I actually missed there. That's going to be massive in determining the results at the end. But he goes for another set of softs. I think he might try and go for fast lap. But the thing is, GSR Delta had so much more ERS. Obviously, Spenny's going to have less fuel. That is going to aid him, but he's not going to have anywhere near the ERS battery that GSR Delta had. I don't think he even has near enough the raw pace that Delta is showing us at the moment. Is just undisputed. But Slake at the moment, his AI is actually about to get, well, has been lapped by about half the grid. Dino Oaks, I think, is going to get lapped soon if he isn't already lapped. Is he lapped? No, he's not. I think he might get lapped by the end of the slope, as Delta's got a 5.5 second lead, and as expected, he's just pulling away. And with field spread forming, it's not too much on-track action, but we'll have a look at what this is going to do now for the championship standings. Well, we don't really have very much to... Oh, Snake Mover is back, and will he be able to save himself from the disqualification? I'm not sure. If he finishes the race, I think he gets points. But at the same time, his AI did over 50% of the race. I can say that with full confidence. It's been more than 50% he's been disconnected. And in post-race interviews last week, we jokingly said to him that it would be great if he could slow down this week. But this was not how I imagined him slowing down. And Delta's 5.6. Like, he's losing a little bit Phil, but it's not going to be that much. Phil on 37%, he's been recharging, but Delta's also recharging. I think he's going to go for one last push at the end again. And we could see him win by maybe 10 seconds. I mean, just the pace he's showing is just not human. There's absolute domination from the Red Bull driver. And it's going to be interesting to see what he can produce in the rest of the season if he continues the race. As one thing's been odd this race, I keep getting vibrations on the controller for every time a driver I'm spectating is going over curbs. So I don't know if the stream is picking that up in the background. Hopefully it's not. If it is, I apologise. But I can't really control at the moment the controller having a fit. As we look, gonna have a look at warnings on Phil and Delta and a couple of the other drivers. Delta's had 2 warnings. Philo has had 1 warning. And the only other drivers without pens, Charlie and Tom N. Tom N's put on a really good race. I have to give it to him. From the drive-through, this has been just an amazing drive from Tom N. That's going to be great. Just to see the recovery, as it's just unfortunate because I don't think he sped on the VSC. He might have done. But I see a sort of possibility the EA Delta might have been doing his usual Codemaster things and just giving a drive-through when he should have really got one. It's really dying down on track now, as I don't think no one's within a second of each other. Not really seeing anyone particularly gaining either. It seems like it's just sort of, it's playing it out at this point. I was going to say this might be what we see in the order as we cross the line. Like I said, I went to go and check the driver standings. Didn't check the driver standings for whatever reason. I'm going to go and do that while we watch these last couple of laps. I think after this one, I think Runnard in P4, it's 18 points? I think it's 18 anyway, no, is it? No, it's not, it's 17. It's going to be 17 points for the Aston Martin, and the deficit going in this race was only 10 points. So as it stands, if Runnard, bear in mind he does have 3 second penalty, but it won't take any effect at the moment. If he stays out of trouble with the steward, which I think he might get into a little bit of bother, as we did see that instantly help Phil at the start. But Runnard is going to be in the lead of the championship by 7 points following this race. And Cryptic, by retiring the pits, Cryptic's actually cost himself some points to try and get himself back in the championship battle, as I'd say he could have got at least like 10 points, and that would have brought him in within the 25 point gap if he were to win the race and the other 2 drivers were to not finish. That would be him back in the championship battle as well, which is why we discourage people DNFing. Obviously, some people, like, some things can't be bothered, like something goes wrong, you just can't be bothered finishing, but it's always worth it. We're trying to get those extra points at the end, especially when you get to the end of the season. The championship can be decided by literally 1 point. When you said do that one thing, maybe do those extra laps, maybe it would have been boring, it might have been a waste of the night, but it may win you a championship in the end. Spenny in P4 in the championship, I think as it stands, he's going to jump Cryptic. Spenny's going to be up in the P3. It's going to be Aston Martin 1 and 3. Which actually, if we look at the constructors, well, I think Aston Martin have a good shout for the constructors in Tier 1 this season. After Belgium, though, there's an 8-point deficit. They're definitely outscoring that this week, as both of the Ferraris are lower than the Aston Martins. One of the Ferraris may or may not actually score points. But as we come now on 2 laps of racing left, GSR Delta, he's 7.8 ahead. He's charging up the bar as well while he's doing this. And it's domination. I think we've got PAR's Max Verstappen in that Red Bull. And I can only assume he's an esports driver of some sort, especially based on the GSR in his name. I've never heard of GSR, but if they have drivers like this, I can only assume they're going to be quite decent. And see, for second week in a row, it's looking like it's going to come home to be a Haas 2-3. Bearing in mind that Phil doesn't have a, well, not Phil, bear in mind Snowy doesn't have a skill issue and get another 3 seconds. Phil has a little bit of a wobble coming up through turn 4. He's out of track limits, but I think he's gone wide enough for the game to decide that that's perfectly fine. But if you keep it close to the line, the game, for some reason, decides that should be a pen. But what's interesting now is Runnard, I think, is pushing a little bit. He's starting to gain on Snowy in 3. And obviously both equal on penalties at the moment. I think Snowy might have actually picked up another penalty, did he? He didn't, but if I look at Snowy's warnings, Snowy had 2 warnings lap 10. He's only got 4 warnings as it stands, whereas Runnard has got... Yeah, he's got 6 warnings. I can only assume one of them's going to be for the collision with Philo. That's the only thing about looking for the warnings through the lap times rather than the race director itself. It's quicker, but it doesn't give the full story and what the warnings are for. A lot of times you sort of see that there's warnings for collision. And like Runnard, he is pushing. Has he got the tire advantage? I think Runnard might have overcut. He has got that 2-lap overcut on Jay Snowy. So he's going to be faster. As on this final lap, I don't think he's going to be fast enough though. 1.3 the gap now. He's going to have to start burning a little bit of that ERS. As Snowy, actually if he manages to stay with Dino, he could carry a little bit of the ERS through the final through the final strip. But I don't think Ace Runner could be able to get him in the line. It's going to be close. As coming in second 3, the gap's down to 8 tenths. It was 1.4. It's now, it's closing. 7.5 tenths now. 7 tenths. At 6 tenths. Is he going to be able to get a better drive though? As Snowy's going to burn. Runner's going to burn. He's still gaining 5 tenths now. As he's going to come over the line. He's not going to be close enough though. He's going to be flat in the Barry. At 4.3 tenths separating 2 drivers. As very, very close between the 2 at the end. But that P4 is going to be massive for Jay Runnard, the new one. Runnard's championship hopes. As we come back now, Arden Moreno is going to come across line P9. Side FX in P10. Dino Oaks has cross line lapped in P11. And Snake Mover is he AI mode? I have no clue. He's still ghosted, but I think he's an actual... I think it's actually Sleek driving now. The Sleek has finished, but I don't know if he's going to be classified in the results. But obviously that's not for me to decide, that's for the stewards to look at the end of the race. So that's another round of racing done now in the Tier 1 Championship. As we're definitely coming down to the business end of the season. If I just double check the calendar just to let you know what we have coming up next. It's going to be, for the F1 calendar, the next track, Brazil. This could be a big race. Brazil is one of the most iconic tracks in the F1 calendar. And it's also really, really good for racing. It's going to be interesting to see who we can see take a win there. And it's going to be really interesting whether Delta's going to be there. Because I'd say Delta has a solid chance at solidifying itself as a front runner this season. It's absolutely like mental pace he's displayed today, winning by nearly 10 seconds. But I'd say for driver of the day, I do think my vote this week has to go for Velo. P16 had a really poor qualifying, and he's come back to get P2, and one of the only cars on track to not finish with a time penalty. Stellar drive from the Haas driver, and he actually put on quite a decent drive last week as well. As both Haas drivers, 2 weeks in a row, and it's 2 and 3 for the Haas. And although the Haaster plan didn't look like it was coming into effect in the qualifying, it's certainly come into effect now. Some may call it a Haaster class. But as we look for in terms of the Academy standings, Ferrari have got more of an advantage over Mercedes again. They're going to extend that lead now, especially with the double DNF of their Mercedes works cars. But until next week, that's another round of racing, and we shall return.